Good afternoon, colleagues. I hope you've been enjoying your day. Thank you so much for joining us. This session is a discussion on youth and peace building. Thanks for joining us. We have two presenters today. They're joining us virtually online, so you'll see them there on your screen. I'm pleased to welcome Abhishek Sharma. He is a graduate student, a doctoral candidate in Korean Studies at the University of Delhi. He's going to be presenting a paper today, co-written with his colleague Soumya Agarwal, and he's gonna share with us on pushing the boundaries, mainstreaming of youth perspectives through youth peace and security, through the youth peace and security agenda in India. We're also joined, I'm pleased to welcome as well Shubha Kumar, who is from the University of Southern California. She's associate professor there and has done an interesting piece of work about building evidence for peace building investments and evaluating the social return on investment of youth-led and youth supporting peace building programs. This connects very well to what we heard from Jacob today, another methodology on SROI that we get to hear about here. So we will have, for those joining us online, you can engage with us through the online platform to pose your questions. We'll have our presenters deliver first, one after the other, and then we'll take a round of questions and have a good discussion, because I think that way we can also look at cross-fertilization of ideas across the two presentations. And so with that, I want to begin with Shubha. I'm going to hand over to you and ask you to present to us on the social return on investment in youth-led peace-building programs. Thank you.
Hi, great. Thank you very much, Karen, and hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. If you just give me a minute, I will share my presentation. And
Hi, Shubha, I can share it for you.
Okay, I don't know that you have the file, so I'm gonna.
Okay.
Does this work? Is this working?
Yes.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, great. Okay, so then I will get started. So, so as Karen said, my name is Shubha Kumar, and I'm really excited to share with you some work we have been doing. My colleagues and myself and a whole group of people have been invested in this work about evaluating what is the social return on investment, the social and economic value of youth-led and youth-supporting peace-building programs. And I just want to acknowledge that this work has been conducted with the support of many, many partners. You see them here on the screen. The funding was provided by USAID, and we have worked with various partners in Kenya as well as internationally to support this work. So just to give you a little bit of context, the youth, peace, and security movement has been increasingly growing over the past 10 years. There's a global coalition on youth, peace, and security, whose co-chair Saji Prelish was the visionary for this work. And the coalition itself is made up of hundreds of organizations, including various UN agencies, government agencies, NGOs, youth-led organizations, donors, academia, networks, and more. And this network is really about bringing people with institutional power to work with people with network power for a common collaborative agenda for peace. And so what do we mean by that? The YPS movement is really focusing on how youth are a part of the solution and how we can shape policy and structures to support them. So it challenges the traditional narrative that has been, a wide part of what people see, that youth are the problem when it comes to peace and violence, but it rather challenges that and shifts the focus on why are most youth peaceful and what can we do to better support them. So really seeing youth as the solution rather than the problem, and focusing on policies that support youth as a solution and shift the focus and the structure for a more positive approach. And so how does SROI fit in? Social return on investment is an approach to impact measurement and management that can help understand what is the impact of youth peace building to society. Oops, have I lost the connection? Uh-oh, am I still here?
Yeah, you're still there.
Okay, sorry. I heard a sound and I thought I lost. Excuse me. I will continue. So social return on investment is an approach to impact measurement and management that can help understand what is the impact of youth peace building to society. It can help transform the violence of exclusion that youth often experience by making youth feel seen, heard, and their work better recognized. Given the strong participatory aspect of this methodology, SRI involves all key stakeholders, and in this situation, we're talking about youth particularly, throughout the process. And it's not only involving them in the process, but it's allowing them the authority to define what matters, what is the impact, and how that is valued. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in this session. And also want to know that SRI can help strengthen relationships and provide new incentives for partnerships, particularly with the private sector, when the returns on investment are clarified. So being able to speak about impact in terms of return on investment can bridge the gap in communication and understanding. It's everybody understands kind of the concept of return on investment, whether you're in the government sector, you're in private sector, you're in public sector, other, any type of entity. We are familiar with that concept, and being able to translate impact into that type of framework can help the communication of what is the impact in a way that everybody understands, and provide those incentives in a clear way, particularly for certain types of organizations, including private sector and government, who may be interested in that type of information. So to pilot the social return on investment approach in the peace building space, we enlisted the support of an expert advisory group that was composed of key international and national agencies, including the Commonwealth, the African Union, the National Youth Council of Kenya, the World Bank, various UN agencies, and of course USAID, along with key colleagues in this space, Sosaji Prelis, who is also known as a grandfather of YPS, and Sarah Olson and myself. We are both familiar with the SRI methodology, and that's kind of where we come in. And this is a new space for us, I might mention, for Sarah and myself. We are new to the peace building field, but what we came with is a background in social return on investment. And it was an interesting partnership to see how this framework may be useful in this sector. So in terms of the study itself, we set out to solve a problem, which is that the YPS field is struggling to evaluate itself in an impactful way. So there's so much happening in this space, but the full impacts that youth peace and security programs are having and the return on investments that they've been having aren't always clear. And that there's especially a need to understand and measure what matters to the youth if we really want peace building to be more effective and to put power in their hands to define their futures. So with the support of USAID, we set out to pilot the social return on investment methodology to see if it could be useful in better evaluating YPS programs to understand their full impacts and quantify that impact. So here's an example. Most program evaluations in global development tend to look like this one. This is an example from Kenya Red Cross, where they're reporting on outputs. I know it's kind of hard to see on the screen, but basically it's very typical in many evaluation reports. You'll see what is the number of participants who participated in training, or the number of patients that we're seeing, or the number of students in the school. But those outputs are not really telling you the full picture. So what 500 people completed a training? So what 900 injections were delivered? What impact did those actually have? And how sustainable was that impact? Those numbers aren't telling you the full impact of what has changed. And so social return on investment, it builds on common evaluation practices, including identifying theories of change and what are the inputs and the outputs of programming, but it takes it further to answer what was the full impact of the program and comparing that value with the investment. So the ratio itself, the social return on investment, is equal to what is the total present value of the impact over the total investment. And in terms of an overview, I won't go through in detail, but in terms of the big picture, the SRI methodology involves 6 key stages. So in the first stage, you want to understand what does the program or intervention do? What are the key activities? Which geography is it located? Over what time period has it been implemented? And then in the second stage, you really want to understand who is affected by the program. Who are the key stakeholders who are either affecting or being affected by this program? And then understanding how they're being affected. And that involves directly asking them how they're being affected. Then once you understand the types of outcomes that stakeholders are experiencing, you want to put a value on the importance of those effects. And that's the tricky part, and we're going to talk about that in depth, but basically putting a dollar value on the outcomes. And the next step is to validate the findings with the stakeholders to make sure that you've heard them correctly throughout the process and that the values make sense. And finally, that the findings should be shared and the results used to actually improve future programming and inform evidence. So that's kind of a big picture of the methodology. And we piloted this project to understand the social return on investment of peace-building programs, particularly those that are youth-led and youth-supported in Kenya. And with the support from the National Youth Council of Kenya, we received overwhelming interest from 300 projects across the country that wanted to participate in this SRI evaluation. People were very interested to understand how this methodology can be applied to their programs. Given the budget and resources we had, we shortlisted the projects and we narrowed it down to 4 that we actually selected for inclusion. But given this overwhelming interest, we also provided free training on SRI to all of the organizations who had applied to be part of this project to help build their capacity to do the SRI themselves. So over 300 organizations were invited to do training. And out of those, we specifically worked with 4 to evaluate what is the social return on investment of their programs. And the 4 programs that we analyzed in this study were ultimately implemented by 4 different organizations, including Search for Common Ground, Kenya Red Cross, the International Organization for Migration, and IPHRD Africa. The 4 projects were implemented in different parts of Kenya. Some of them were in the coastal region. They had varying activities that they implemented, from microfinance training and loan support to psychosocial support to mediation training, et cetera, that we're reaching. So this was on purpose that we selected different types of projects. Some were youth-led, others were youth-supporting, and implemented over the past few years. All of them had been ended within the past 6 to 12 months when we conducted the study. So as we talked about, in the first stage, you really want to understand what do the programs do and who are the key stakeholders who are being affected by the programming. So across the SRI evaluations, we consulted the various stakeholders to understand from their perspectives what had changed for them as a result of the programs. So the stakeholders that we consulted included youth, women's groups, religious leaders, security actors, the private sector, program staff who were involved in implementing the program, community influencers, families of the youth who were also indirectly impacted. You see radio listeners, because one of the programs focused on delivering radio programming. And so we really consulted all these different stakeholders to understand what are the outcomes that each of them experienced and how they would value them. And through the process of the stakeholder consultation, we were able to get like a societal snapshot of impact across the various stakeholders. So again, I know this image can be pretty hard to see, but what I'm trying to show you here is that there's multiple stakeholders that were consulted. You'll see them on the top row. And then on the bottom are the outcomes that they identified that they experienced. And so, for example, the outcomes that were most important across the board to the stakeholders were increased networking and opportunities that resulted from the programs, and also becoming an upstanding member of society. Those 2 outcomes were found to be the most valuable to the stakeholders in the study across all of the 4 programs. And when you put all of those outcomes together for all of the stakeholders, we found that overall, for every dollar invested in the programs, it generated about $5 to $10 in value. So you might be asking yourself, how in the world did you come up with that $5 to $10? I won't take you through all the details, but just to know that there are multiple approaches established in economics for assigning monetary values to outcomes, and we applied 2 of those in our study. And in case you're wondering, okay, why this range? Why is it $5 to $10, and what is the range below? That's because an industry standard in social return on investment methodology is that the results should be presented in ranges to reflect the inherent variation in the assumptions that are made. Also, it's worth noting that an SRI ratio above 1 is considered positive. So the results that we found here are very promising. And I'm going to walk you through the 2 approaches that we applied in terms of assigning those dollar values to these outcomes. So the first approach that we took to assigning monetary values to the outcomes involved looking at the economic values that had been established in the literature. So for each outcome that the key stakeholders said they had experienced, we looked for corresponding economic values of those outcomes. So in one of the programs, youth said that they experienced increased rehabilitation and reformation. In the literature, the closest valuation we could find for that was the value of avoided costs to the state associated with the reduced cost of reoffending. That's the one highlighted in purple. The other one highlighted in purple, the other example here, the private sector businesses that we interviewed, that they improved that resulted from the program, allowing them to have better business operations. And the corresponding economic value we could find in the literature for that was the per capita economic gains due to reduced prevalence of gangs in the local area. So overall, we applied this to all of the outcomes that stakeholders identified, but we found a few limitations with this approach to the valuation. First, the literature doesn't capture the value of intangible outcomes like empowerment or increased networking, but it was these outcomes that stakeholders said were the most important to them. Second, there were only a handful of studies which included economic valuations to the state and only for a few outcomes. And third, using state-based indicators was missing a lot of the important outcomes that mattered to people and only providing the value from the state perspective. So it was missing out on the value to the stakeholders experiencing the outcomes themselves. So then we applied a second approach to assigning monetary values to the outcomes. And this approach involved asking stakeholders directly how they would value the outcomes that they experienced. So we created this list of common items that they might find valuable in the marketplace. So from a cell phone to a laptop to an apartment. And we asked them to rank the value of the outcomes they experienced in between 2 of these items, where we knew what the market values of those items were, but we kept the market values hidden. We really just wanted to understand, how much is experiencing increased rehabilitation reformation or increased networking worth to you in relation to 2 of these items. And using this approach was really informative, not only in terms of establishing the values of the outcomes monetarily, but also which outcomes mattered to stakeholders the most, because they would put them in an order based on what mattered to them as far as their value. We also undertook an additional study as part of this work to understand how stakeholders might value the outcomes that they had experienced earlier, but now in the context of the national elections. Given this was an election year in Kenya, and the history of national elections as far as the implications for peace and peace building, and the reason that many of these peace building programs were established, we wanted to understand how have these peace building programs and their outcomes impacted the peace during the election time, and what would the SROI be in that case and in that context. And I want to say that's like one of the key benefits of SROI, is that it recognizes that the value of outcomes can change depending on the context. So in the context of the elections, across the board, stakeholders said that the outcomes that they had experienced were more valuable to them. Having increased peace building skills from the trainings and mediation sessions, having better networks, all of these outcomes mattered even more during an election. And in some cases, all the way up to $32 for every dollar invested. And so if we come back to the story of the Kenya Red Cross program, when we saw this slide in the beginning in terms of kind of the typical evaluation report, it wasn't telling the full story. And we did the evaluation for this very same program using the SRI approach. And I think we were able to tell the story much better. So Kenya Red Cross was having some really excellent results with the 5,000 youth that it served through this program, mainly through training on income generating activities and the startup funds that it provided to the youth. But the old evaluation report wasn't telling the full story, right? It was saying we reached this many youth participated in trainings, this many number of them got a startup loan. It wasn't until we did the SROI that we asked the young people, what did they care about the most? Did we understand that having become an upstanding member of society and having increased networks as a result of the program mattered more to them? And in many cases, it actually lasted longer for them than even the new income they had made. It wasn't until the SROI that we learned that the program had also created measurable value for families and for the private sector. So being able to speak to all these different key stakeholders and add up the outcomes that they experienced, we were able to find that for every dollar invested in this program, it generates $7 to $10 in value. That kind of information didn't previously exist in evaluation reports. And so after we did all of the SRI evaluations, the 4 organizations were really excited about the potential that the SRI had for making their case to their leadership and to their donors in a way that they never previously could about the full impact of their program. The SRI process also shed light on some of the opportunities to increase value of the programs that they hadn't previously realized. So things that were working well and things that they could improve by talking through the stakeholders, all of that information came to light. And when we did the validation sessions as part of the SROI, stakeholders across the evaluations could really see their results included in the conversation. So whether they were youth or religious leaders or women or security actors, all of their outcomes were included and valued. And in that way, the SRI provided an inclusive, yet systematic and rigorous approach to evaluation in a common language of money, right, the return on investment, that all key stakeholders could understand, including the private sector and donors. And so in sum, using SROI has the potential to really add value over current approaches to evaluation in the YPS space. And there's really, I want you to think about, there's 5 key ways that SRI methodology can help. First of all, it encourages decision-making based on value, not based on outputs, right? Outputs don't typically reflect the whole picture, but have often been the basis for many decisions in aid and development. Here, we shift the conversation to what is the value of the outcomes. Second, SRI prioritizes the voice of all key stakeholders and what matters most to them. So it does this by asking stakeholders what outcomes they experienced and the relative importance of them versus kind of predefined measures that are set by decision makers. Third, SRI provides insights to avoid or mitigate harmful effects. So it engages key stakeholders in defining the theory of change and explicitly requires them to consider any unintended and negative consequences that they might have experienced. And these insights can be used to mitigate these harms from occurring in the future. Fourth, SRI examines sustainability by considering how long outcomes last and factors that into the calculations of the impact. And finally, SRI can really elucidate the value for money. So while most programming in this space has inherently been understood as valuable, as good by program staff and donors and communities, SRI makes that value explicit by really assigning that dollar value to the outcomes. So these are some of the key ways that SRI can add to really identifying what is the full impact and build on evaluation and evidence in this space. And so SRI provides some really key benefits for funders and investors and program managers as well. So if you think about it, it's identifying what matters most to the stakeholders. It involves identifying the strengths and opportunities of the programming to grow value. It also allows an opportunity to look at the value creation over time. So if you do the SRI analysis at different points in time, you can understand how that value is evolving. And it also facilitates local communities to be empowered to define that impact and to have more ownership. The local communities, the local stakeholders who are actually experiencing the programming or conducting the programming are the ones who are saying, these are the outcomes that are experienced. This is how we value them. So they're really the ones that are defining the impact and being able to set priorities in the future, really resulting in more ownership of programming. And so, frankly, we see a lot of talk around localization or decolonization in the aid space today. And SRI really provides a way, a tangible way to kind of fulfill localization priorities and strategies. And if we combine social return on investment and the Peace Impact Framework, which is a framework that has been developed over the past few years in consultation with hundreds of organizations around the world to really define what does peace mean to them, we can have an even more powerful and coherent way to understand impact and speak across organizations and share learning about the sector more widely. So we would understand more about the right investments, using a combined approach to social return on investment and the Peace Impact Framework. Second, people living in conflict, as well as practitioners working directly with them, would take part in setting priorities. And third, evaluating the impact will be the priority as opposed to just reporting on specific projects. So it's really an opportunity that we would like to explore in the future, is combining the social return on investment within the. And so with that said, in terms of next steps, first of all, we would really like to work to further build the evidence. So since this was just a proof of concept to see how SRI applies in the youth, peace, and security sector, it'll be important to understand what the evidence looks like when we're using this at scale and with the Peace Impact Framework in combination. And we could do that in a variety of ways. So for example, we could extrapolate for a broader geographic space or region, or we could even examine a specific donor portfolio or cumulative impact across multiple programs in a particular area. So once we have more solid evidence, we'd hope that the SRI results are then integrated into national policymaking and action planning, and that the SRI evidence would drive funding priorities. We really saw that a lot of youth in this study preferred this method, and those youth really deserve a shot. Then we can compare how do the programs that are planned or evaluated using SRI fare compared to the programs who don't. We really have to start doing planning and evaluation differently if we want to see this field move to the next level. And we have to build young people's capacity to do SRI themselves. We're seeing a lot of interest and momentum building around this approach. And I'd love to hear from you in the audience in terms of how you think this type of evidence could be useful to you in your work. And so with that said, I was hoping to pause for questions. I've listed our contact information here for Saji and myself. Feel free to reach out with questions or comments by email, in addition to the Q&A session that we're going to have at the end of the session. And for anyone interested in learning more about the SRI methodology itself, I've created a training course that you can access from this link. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing this presentation, and I'm going to turn it back to my colleagues for the next.
Great. Thank you so much, Shubha. That was a really interesting case study, and we're excited to learn more about it when we get to the Q&A section. Now I'm going to hand over to Abhishek Sharma and ask him to share his presentation with us. Thank you.
So it was great to listen to the speaker's presentation. It gave me a lot of insights into and a lot of commonality which you're also dealing with. So firstly, let me introduce again myself. I'm Abhishek Sharma. I'm a PhD student at University of Delhi in Korean Studies. I'm doing my research in how youth interacts with social movements, particularly on the issue of climate change and environmental peace building. But I'm also working with international NGOs and national NGOs who are working in India on YPS agenda and youth rights at the broader level. So our topic today is pushing boundaries, mainstreaming youth perspective through YPS agenda India. So the presentation will focus on linking the three levels of YPS agenda: international, national, which is about India, and at the individual level, that is the youth demographic, and basically explain how this works at all level, and create a commonality thread. And the aim is to highlight is the lack of understanding at all levels of each other, complexity which exists in each other's level, and how it manifests in contemporary times in India. And this will essentially be undertaken to emphasize the domination of state centrism perspectives in YPS agenda, particularly in India, and also kind of put light on how youth peace organization, but also individuals who are working in the youth peace building sector are kind of still making a lot of differences, even when the state there's a lack of support from the state and international NGOs. So this is the structure of the presentation. I'll be basically talking about the YPS, how is YPS envisioned at all three levels at the current time, and what is being done at all these levels. So the first one is the youth peace and security agenda and the international. I think the first question we always need to ask is, why does youth matter? Some argument is that because of the demographics, because youth constitutes a kind of one of the largest segments of population in the world, particularly as the age bracket might differ from country to country, but at the international level, when we talk about UN, we recognize that 1.2 billion of youth are there in that. This is the data from 2019, and the youth bracket from 15 to 30 are the majority of the population who are living in fragile and conflict-affected societies, particularly in Asia, Africa, Latin America. And why it matters is most of the conflict situations, particularly in today's context, like trafficking, climate change, youth are the first responders, and they are the first kind of leaders who kind of respond to these situations. But more importantly, they are the first demographic which are very quick to adapt to these challenges, because of their knowledge about regarding the technological adaptation and the use of innovative methods and creativity in responding to situations. So it becomes very important that we often engage with youth when we're talking about or resolving these issues and while forming policies and decisions. But it becomes more important for international organizations and governments, so to include them in this endeavor to bring forth the changes which we envision, so as to respond very accurately but responsibly and in a meaningful manner to these situations. That's why we see youth as the current leaders, which have the capacity and the ability to make impact in different fields, be it on the issues of environmental peace building or climate change, mitigation, adaptation, loss and damage, or in issues of social sector reforms, and working on issues like gender-based violence or education. So youth in international context. In this, as you might know already, that the movement has been going on for almost 2 decades, since 1990s, but the first remarkable achievements were undertaken in 2015 when the UN Security Council Resolution 2250 was passed, and there was a lot of joiners in the particularly in the youth peace building and activist segments because this resolution recognizes the positive impact of youth in the peace building sector, and this gives them the ability to work very closely with international organizations and the governments in their own countries, because what the UN Security Council Resolution 2250 brought in is to give a kind of legitimacy to youth and kind of shed this image of them being looked as troublemakers in international context, where this might differ from country to country, but especially even in, for example, the global south, where they don't have that kind of agency to practice. So these kind of these resolutions give a more agency and legitimacy to the role of youth in particularly conflict societies. And it brought in the 5 pillars upon which this is based: the participation, prevention, protection, participation, partnership and disengagement, and integrations, and reinforces this the importance of youth participations, and the need to include them at all level of policy changes, but also by kind of focus highlighting they're also that working in this sector, particularly on the youth, how you are also vulnerable to so many harms. And this was followed by the UN Security Constitution 2419, which recognized the role of youth in negotiation and peace processes, particularly in conflict society, and giving them more responsible and space to be a part of the negotiations. Um, and it was followed by also UN Security Constitution 2535, which talks about protecting the civil and political space and diversifying on youth participation, particularly recognizing the um, need to kind of understand the concept of intersectionality, where we talk about how even youth belonging to a single country may have different perspective because they might be living in different socioeconomic conditions, regions, or might be belonging to some minority groups or marginalized communities. So this the second part is YPS and India. Before going ahead up to this, I would like to highlight that what was envisioned at the global level is not how it is practiced at the national level of many countries, particularly in those countries where the resources are very restricted. The governments are not very welcoming to the role of youth within the policymaking sphere, but at the same time also because of the cultural and economic situations. So this is a quote by the Indian Prime Minister during his 68th Independence Day speech, where he said that while talking to the audience in general, he said that ours is a country of young people, where 65% of population of the country is under the age of 35, and our country has the largest number of youth in the world. Have we ever thought of deriving the advantage of it? And I would like to ask you to just keep this statement in mind, because I'll be talking about it, why this statement matters. And this is the vision statement of the National Youth Policy, which was released by the Government of India in 2014, which talks about what is the vision for youth of India. And the vision is to empower youth of the country to achieve their full potential, and through them enable India to find its rightful place in the community of nations. So, reading this statement, it might look very positive, that a country like India recognizes the role of youth in the development of its in the development path, but also in nation building. But what this statement entails is a very different image. But before kind of highlighting that, I would kind of put forward some facts. India in India there is a 69% of our population is under the age of 35, and these demographics almost consist of 250 million people between the age bracket of 15 to 29 years, which constitute 27.5% of population. Um, and what India aims, as mentioned by the Minister of Youth here and Sports, is to keep the aspiration of and concerns of youth at the center of its decision making and policy making. But we often realize we kind of neglect that India stands in the 141st position among 163 countries on Global Peace Index, and these deals with issues of, for example, communal tensions, riots, terrorism, inter-ethnic violence, and so on. But so these are the facts which we must remember, that even when India is still the fifth largest economy in the world currently, it is still struggling with these issues of community or ethnic violences. Um, but how India has responded, or kind of brought in, or I would say how it has looked at the idea or the concept or the age bracket or the demographics of youth, is through mainly decoding through the policies which are brought in. So in 2014, India brought in the National Youth Policy, and it emphasizes on the education, skills, and employment. But what is very stark, that it misses the peace aspect of it, which remains very absent. Even though it mentions the idea of harmony, how youth can be used are a very important segment of the society because they because if youth can be misled, it can pose some security situation for the state. So in that context, it recognizes the importance of youth for the harmony of the society. But because of the absence of peace and its relation with youth, what this does is it's propagate a narrative of or dominates and push this domination of discourses, um, particularly in policies that puts youth in the negative segments because they are seen as not reliable. And the surprising thing is that after the National Youth Policy of 2014, it expired in 2019, and in 2019 the new policy has been in making. It has been, the draft is ready, but it has still not been released till now, and the excuse given is that because of COVID, but other policies, other kind of documents or strategies are already out there on issues like which are also important. But this shows the kind of lack of focus or emphasis, particularly on the youth, and because of this kind of image, youth are looked through a binary lens in society, through the lens of victim or perpetrators. Useful, are they, either they are useful or useless, either they are threat or ally, responsibility and burden, um, and the only positivity which is associated with them is through in economic sense. And here the statement of Prime Minister and what the National Youth Policy, which was brought in 2014, makes sense. So I would say that the particularly focusing on that, India has a Ministry of Youth and Sports, Sports and Youth Affairs, and there is no dedicated ministry which kind of works on the youth and their issues. But more importantly, these ministry has two departments, and department which deals with the youth affairs within the ministry is only allotted, the whole ministry is allotted only 0.07 to 0.09% of the total budget. Even though the budget has been increasing due to the growing economy of India, but still the amount allocated remains very meager. The next thing is even when the amount in a kind of the total percentage might have remained same, the cumulative number has increased, but within that cumulative number, the amount allocated to the youth affairs department within the ministry is very small, and the handsome amount of money is given to the sports department, which deals with the issues of athletes, sports person, and this department deals with, for example, the Olympics, national games, and all those things. And even the small amount of money which is given to the Department of Youth Affairs is allocated for volunteer work through NSS, like National Service Schemes and National Youth Leadership for plans. And just to put one statistic, that even as I mentioned, with the budget expanding 3 times since 2004, when it was 466 crores in Indian currency, to now when it is 3,398 crore, the amount of money spent on youth per youth is almost 16 rupees. That is almost $0.22 US dollars. So what does India, as I mentioned, this is how India looks at the youth at the domestic level, but how it projects or represents this at the international level, mainly at UN Security Council and UN General Assembly, while their discussions is very different. So even though, so at the international level, the image projected is very positive in association with youth. So for example, it looks at youth as a dividend, economic asset, skilled workforce, growth ambassadors, development drivers, and volunteers. And these all labels are kind of put lights towards how India look at the economic element of youth, like how the country can use the youth for its nation building, particularly in context of achieving these sustainable development goals. Uh, so what and this also talks about how the vision which as enunciated earlier in its statement where it says that the vision is to see transforming the Indian youth into a more skilled, entrepreneurial and financial empowered generation. The other part is, as India has its already, India supports YPS agenda like the WPS international platform, but it rejects the outright association of youth with the idea of security, peace, and conflict. And this roots from a legacy of suspicion with the use of international platforms and international organization by interfering within domestic affairs of countries. So India outrightly rejects that it has any conflict issues within the own countries, and would mainly term those issues as law and order problems. So these, due to the kind of portraying or kind of stating these problems as law and order, what this essentially does is to remove these issues or conflict situation from the lens, viewing from the lens of the international peace and conflict agenda, particularly YPS. And this is a statement which I'm quoting, that India strongly believes in the transformative potential of the YPS agenda, and we will continue to support Council's endeavor to enable young people to participate meaningfully in peace process and peace building activities. So even though the statement might seem very positive, what happens is at the national level, there is no policy, there is no effort on the part of the government to implement or kind of take forward this vision. At the national level, as I mentioned before, the youth are only seen as an asset, an economic tool, and volunteers to fulfill the nation building project of India. And the third one is, as youth is seen as a susceptible demographic category. Even though there are issues at the national level, because of legacy issues, as India's democratic movement has been very robust, and youth have played a very important role in ensuring the democratic values remains constant and are decentralized. So there has been a legacy where youth associated with the negative aspect of democratic movements. For example, most of people might remember in 2012 when a rape incident happened in India in the national capital. The youth of the country was the first kind of first demographic that responded to it, and it led to that movement led to bringing of substantial reforms against for the women's security, particularly dealing with issues of rapes and issues of young women. So the youth have been very active in ensuring policy making, but those participation of youth has been not formal. It has been forced or informal in that sense that it's kind of a what we say as a the youth comes out in the for any movement or forces the government to take certain actions. It's not. It's that the government doesn't engage with youth proactively. So this focuses. This is also a statement from the India at the UN, which is the holistic security of the youth deserves our full attention in collective endeavor to build peaceful and secure societies. So what essentially this highlights that in India at the national level, the youth, first point is the youth is associated or looked as an economic asset. Second is there has been at the national level, the government doesn't allow linking of youth with security, peace, or conflict agenda. And I would also like to clarify that this is also with WPS, Women, Peace, and Security agenda. And as I mentioned before, these are due to issues of a legacy of post-colonialism and because of suspicion of interference of international agencies. And the third one is even when youth are recognized, they also looked at from a very negative connotations where they are associated with a kind of perpetrators and a kind of troublemakers. Now, I would like to say that what has been the consequence of these kind of policy narratives and discourses? Then, as I mentioned before, that due to this, the youth is associated with stereotypes and negative images. This essentially restrict their participation in policy and decision making. So, even when there is a certain kind of recognition of the contribution of youth in the economy or in everyday life of the state, what essentially happens is they are not welcome to the table or when foreign while making policies. Second part is due to this overemphasizing of the negative aspect, they are looked as troublemakers. So even and these kind of narratives trickle down to the society, and speaking for experiences, even for example, the common families doesn't are very suspicious or doesn't allow their their family members, but particularly you, to engage in issues which might be seen as anti-state or anti-establishment. The third part is the empowerment of youth associated with economic and educational empowerment. This does not account for political and social dimensions of empowerment. So the third part is very important because, as I mentioned before, even when 65% of a population are under the age of 35, the representation of that population within our assemblies or our parliament is very less, um, even less than women. Um, so, which is around 11%. And the fourth part is youth becomes a tool to achieve state goals like sustained development goals through missions like national skill missions, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Fit India movement, and Swachh Bharat mission. So, as I mentioned before, the youth are looked from an economic perspective, but there are many policies and missions or initiatives and movements brought in by governments, and to kind of spread those missions. For example, Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan or Fit India movement. This is a Fit India movement. This is an initiative by the current government which focuses on improving the health of the country, particularly emphasizing on doing regular exercises, yoga, and all those things. And Swachh Bharat mission is about keeping the society or community clean. So the government or the state looks at the participation of youth as volunteers in kind of propagating or furthering these initiatives. And this is India's reply on the new agenda for peace document, where it says that for our youth are our development drivers and growth ambassadors. So this essentially tells us that how India looks at its youth, mainly from an economic lens or kind of assets. And the third part is at the individual level. So after telling that there have been so many impediments and obstacles, particularly in India, when we talk about the implementation of YPS agenda, because it does not recognizes the YPS agenda in its essentiality. That means in its original character, India does not recognize the linking of YPS with the issue of conflict or issue of security. So that becomes very difficult for youth and youth groups to undertake any substantial changes, because there is automatically a lack of support from the state. But even because of there is a very highly suspicion towards those people who might be working in social sector or on the issue of peace building, particularly youth. And since since the state is very suspicion of the youth, it tries or undertakes various ways in which it would like to stop the youth from participating or making any substantial changes. So, for example, the FCRA, which is a kind of license which enables the NGO sector in India to get funding from outside. Because of that, the youth particularly are not able to get substantial funding for their programs. So this is one way in which the state can stop the youth in working on issues of peace building particularly. The other segment is the lack of policy framework. Because of lack of policy framework, often youth doesn't get support even in private sectors, particularly on CSR activities, where, for example, on corporate social responsibilities, as opposed to, for example, NGO working in education sector or on issue of women's right. youth doesn't have that capacity or are not given that legitimacy or the place, particularly in India, to undertake those reforms or undertake those initiatives. Um, so these impediments, for example, economic impediments, lack of funding, lack of structural support, state being very suspicious, even the state organs like police or the agencies. Because of all these factors, it becomes very difficult for youth, particularly in India, to work in furthering this YPS agenda. But irrespective of these impediments, I would say that the youth have been able to make substantial changes, particularly on the YPS agenda. And I would like to state some point like what are the young people doing currently to bring these changes. The first is organizing, mobilizing to start a national coalition. So many the Indian coalition on YPS agenda has been working with different organizations across the region of India, particularly on issue of how they can work together or form a coalition and get a certain understanding or spread the awareness of particularly on the YPS agenda. And it becomes very important to recognize that India is a vast country, and every region has its own culture, every region has its own language, its own complexities. For example, in northeast of India is more prone to conflict because of interethnic tensions, but and similarly, for example, the north of India, particularly Kashmir, has its own problems which it's dealing with. But apart from that, the main, for example, the other parts of India also deals with issues of inter-community issues, like for example, riots, ethnic tension, interreligious groups tensions. So these are issues which India faces, um, and youth are working on these issues, particularly how they can address, for example, issues of interfaith, promoting interfaith dialogues, and giving platform to youth to mainstream their subject to mainstream their insecurities, their problems, particularly at the national level. The second point is a leading awareness campaign for youth and other stakeholders. So, particularly at the YPS agenda still remains very um, uh, people are not very much aware about YPS agenda in India, particularly as opposed to, if we can say, WPS agenda, which has been I think almost 15 years ahead of YPS agenda. So there might be a lot of work done in WPS as compared to YPS. It's a very recent development which has happened at the international level. So the it is still kind of a work in progress how youth organization are working to bring more awareness regarding the YPS agenda at the local level. And for this, what it becomes important for them to be, for these agenda to become very accessible to youth and organization, particularly in the local settings. So as I mentioned, India has with diverse languages. So it's very important to get this agenda in their own language. So what the youth organizations are doing right now is to translate these agendas in local languages, particularly on issues, um, uh, particularly particularly the main languages of India, for example, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Kashmiri, or Manipuri. So the what youth organization have been able to do is to give to make this agenda more accessible to young people. Uh, so what this enables is to give them a kind of uh, a platform to interact with each other, but also create a link or thread with at the national level, so that they can have a conversation sitting in a region with, for example, the capital of the state. And the fourth part is leading advocacy missions in different regions of India to meet important stakeholders. So what India's Coalition for Youth have been doing is to taking regular workshop, training, and advocacy and advocacy missions to understand the issues of different regions, and give them the space to put forward their issues. And this has been going on with support from certain international NGOs like UNOI, which have been able to, which have been supporting a certain organization in India in furthering the 5 pillars agenda. And the fourth part is the started initiative in community to implement 5 pillars. So this the focus remains on kind of realizing or pushing forward the how we can make meaningful changes and bring in meaningful participation by furthering all the kind of initiative and movements at all levels, particularly the 5 pillars as mentioned before. And lastly,
I'm just going to give you just a minute to wrap up for your final.
Sure. And this is last slide. So finally the role youth organizations play. So currently what the role they are playing is providing safe space for conversation on youth issues. As I mentioned before, as because of a lack of trust, security, and even suspicion, youth are very suspicious of speaking openly. So these organizations give them safe spaces. Second is to connect them with international level. So many of the youth organizations in India have been able to give spaces to regional issues so that they can be put forward with international organizations, discussions like UN. Third is to give transform the context, the conversation and agenda in Indian context so that the people can relate to it. The fourth one is spreading awareness on youth rights. Most often these people doesn't even know what does youth right entails, even at the international level or national level. So youth organizations have been able to put focus on these issues. And the fourth one is step-by-step approach, where we have been able to create a network of youth and youth organization and kind of integrate them and create a thread at the national level. And the last one is to bringing not only one issue but diverse issues at the national level, for example, on issues of interfaith relations, mental health, gender-based violence. So kind of conclude that even when the vision might differ at the national and at the international level and national level, youth have been able to make substantial changes and are still making changes in India. But there still remains very structural issues like lack of support and funding. But even because of these issues, we have been able to make certain changes. So I would like to conclude with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abhishek, for that presentation. And I want to thank both of our presenters. We have had two very good presentations from different contexts. I think both challenging, in a sense, a deficit approach to youth that doesn't see them as having a role or as agents of change for peace and security. And, you know, I think generally often young people, as Abhishek was saying, are not associated with peace and security issues. That's not their purview. They do sports and culture and those kinds of things. So we don't talk about young people in peace and security. You know, you mentioned, Shubha, that the SROI has been used in a lot of different contexts. This is one of the first times it's being used in relation to peace and security. So it's really been an interesting journey to hear about these two different contexts. So I'm going to open up the floor to my colleagues here in the room and those who are online. If you have any questions for our panelists, now is the time to raise them. The floor is now open.
Question. Thanks for the presentations. They were thorough. I guess my question is it to Shubha?
Shubha, yes.
Mostly is I've seen a lot of SRI. It's certainly in the British context in the early 2000s. It was very popular with the last Labour government, but it didn't necessarily translate into an investment. There was a lot. I mean, there's a lot of flawed SRI in my experience in youth work. So a lot of assumptions that made that don't necessarily have longevity. So I just wondered whether you're actually seeing any real traction with funders and how you get over the fact that actually these gains, even SRI terms, are generational. They can be over 10, 20, 30 years. Certainly I didn't myself realise how good some of my teachers have been. So I got into my late 20s and then went, oh, actually, they were not bad. At the time, if you'd have asked me, I'd said they were, you know, really annoying. So yeah, I just wondered if you had any way to get, you know, two things: how you deal with the longevity issue and whether you've actually got traction with funders.
Yeah, Thank you very much for those questions, and really on point. I think with the first question in terms of actually getting traction with funders, we concluded the study just recently, and so far the organizations that we conducted the evaluations with have said that they are getting positive results from their leadership and funders that they're approaching. But also my colleague Saji Prelis has been working with various country governments and organizations to help share this evidence and disseminate, and has been speaking with many governments at the government level, as well as private sector entities. We just had a meeting with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance last week around this. So I think we have been successful in certainly sharing information, stirring up the questions and the conversations, and garnering interest around this. And it remains to be seen whether more funding will come as a result, but that is certainly the hope. But I think it's providing evidence in a way that hasn't been done before. So it's certainly advancing conversations in a new way. In terms of the longevity aspect, it's also a great question. In terms of, as you're saying, particularly in peace building, but education and other fields, many outcomes may play out over the lifespan, or over 10, 20, 30 years, right? And how do you measure it? It's different ways that some SRI studies will look at outcomes over a longer period of time. Some will look at it at a shorter period of time. What we did in the study, we followed the guidance that you should look at outcomes for as long as you're willing to measure them. So we were conservative in our approach in seeing what are the outcomes over the time that we have measured them, to be able to really value them in a rigorous way. But it's not to say that those outcomes, and certainly 6 to 12 months after a program has ended, you might not see a lot of the outcomes, particularly in peace building, right? Because those can be experienced over longer term. We chose to be more conservative in our approach, but it would be great if we had funding and resources to do this type of social return on investment study at different points in time, to really see how outcomes play out over time and what is the true value in the long term.
Yeah. Very interesting. Any other questions here for Shubha and Abhishek? If you're not ready with yours, I might use moderator's privilege and jump in if you don't mind. Maybe I'll start with one that kind of goes to both of you, because I was quite interested by the fact that both of your presentations are talking about this idea of dividends, but in different ways, right? So for you, Shubha, you're trying to show that impact. You're sort of showing those dividends that can be reaped by investment in these kinds of youth-led projects. On your side, your analysis, Abhishek, is saying there's already this narrative of an economically dominant narrative in the youth policy and the orientation of the government towards trying to reap an economic demographic dividend. But you want to shift away from that because it's sort of stifling the notion of political agency for young people and their role in social transformation. So are your two approaches contradictory in any sense, do you think? Are you pro, or let me rephrase it another way? Are you pro the approach, Abhishek? I'll put it to you. Are you pro this approach of trying to quantify and measure and sort of monetize the impact of young people's work and work for young people in peace building? Or is that contrary to your notion of moving away from an economically focused orientation?
I would say that I'm not opposed to this idea of like a kind of domination of economic lens, but we cannot just put economic lens in a situation where there's no peace and security. How do you tell a person living in a conflict situation that this makes economic sense when they don't know if they'll be able to survive tomorrow? Or for example, if they have employment opportunities, will be able to sustain in a conflict situation. So that's why I would say that politics.
Sorry, Abhishek, we've lost you. We lost you for a moment. Please go ahead.
So, like, I was saying that it differs from situation and situation. Like in north or northeast of India, where there is a conflict issue, it's very difficult to, for for example, sell this idea of economics. Firstly, because of economics will not always work in because traditionally economics tends to, for example, have a very negative connotation in tribal societies because it brings development at the cost of sustainability. So sustainability becomes the first victim in that sense. But I would also say that economics should be a part of the approach. It's not like it's either or situation. So, but the root of any context should be politics. Like how does it affects the people of that particular situation? So you need to do social impact. You need to do environmental impact. Like how, if any project is being taken forward, does that project help the people or the youth of that particular space?
Yeah. And Shubha, do you want to comment on that in terms of how you frame it around social value?
Sure. Thanks. I really appreciate the question because I was kind of thinking about it too while Abhishek was speaking. The kind of the dichotomy, but as well as the synergies between what we were both talking about. I think, monetization, putting a dollar value on outcomes of what is a dollar value of life, that kind of thing has always been controversial, right? How do you really do that? Is it ethical to do that? But on the other hand, it's also about, we know that we need to provide information in certain ways to improve the funding, right? If we want to be able to get investments in this space to support this work, it's important to be able to communicate what is the economic value. And what I like particularly about social return on investment, it's that as a methodology, it's looking at the social, the economic, and the environmental value generated by any policy or organization or intervention. So it's really looking at the triple bottom line. It's a necessity to look at all three aspects, right? Well, sometimes environmental, depending on the type of intervention, maybe two aspects may be more relevant than a third in a particular intervention. But basically, like what I like about it in this way, yes, for example, when we looked at the outcomes that the stakeholders experienced and what actually mattered to them, they were saying becoming an upstanding member of society, having increased networks, that mattered to me more than the income I gained, right? So it's shedding light on what really matters to the youth and what, from their perspective, and they are the ones putting the dollar value on them. So in a way, yes, it is, putting the things in an economic lens, but it's translating the social outcomes and what matters most to youth from their perspectives, as opposed to just kind of donor driven or outside driven priorities. So I think there is potential to kind of create a good synergy in this way. So I don't know if that was coherent. It's like 5 a.m.
Yes, no, that was very coherent.
I would like to just add one point. I think what Shubha mentioned, I think it's very important to, I think, link this social and economics. So like kind of socio-economic impact which project has on particularly uplifting the people. So in that sense, it make this model is very good. I understand.
Yeah, agreed, Abhishek. So in a sense, you could see how this methodology could also be useful in the context of some of the initiatives that you mentioned. And having said that, I was intrigued by some of the initiatives you outlined in terms of what young people are doing now to respond to the context in India and trying to raise awareness around this YPS agenda. But I wonder, what has been the response from government and other stakeholders to this renewed activity by young people and mobilization around this agenda?
I would say that so there is no opposition when you go and present your vision to, for example, a government employee, but because of this overpowering, this kind of portrayal that you are always suspicious of how young people, there's no trust between the government and the youth of the country. And I mentioned before that this is because of legacy issues. And I think this is true for any country. I would say that because youth is associated with changing the status quo, and any government doesn't like changing the status quo. So it automatically becomes a kind of two sections standing opposite each other, but there have been mechanisms through which we engage with the government. For example, through international organization, yeah, UNESCO, UNDP. So we have been able to, for example, they promote some projects and young people work through that projects and bring out some policy agendas, and that policy agenda or policy briefs is presented to the government to take note of. So it's not directly most often the NGOs, particularly in youth segment, have been able to make a very drastic impact because of this kind of relations between both segment. But indirectly, we have been able to make very important changes. And here I would like to mention what Subha mentioned, that if we can link the economic and social aspect of it in a very interesting way, like that youth are not only able to bring economic prosperity, but also can bring social change, bring peace and security, provide for community. That would be the best way, which I would say that any model can take forward. So that is what our vision is not just put forward youth's image as an economic agent, but as a holistic image where youth can also bring in security in the society, where there is a lot of trust and polarization. And you all know that this is not only specific to India. We are seeing that in every part of the world, that polarization, even youth can bridge this gap between communities and societies.
Excellent. Yes, we have one question.
Very quickly, I don't know if you've heard of the Rajgiri Foundation and Sarika Pandabat, who's in Delhi, but I'd recommend you get in touch with her. She's mobilizing young people in a very direct action way in terms of reclaiming streets, mostly around road safety, but they have just done one in Delhi 2-3 weeks ago around the SDG agenda and lobbying the government of India to adopt an adolescent well-being agenda. So if you don't know Sarika, I can see the point, but and also the LGBTQI movement. I was in India recently. I noticed young people are very much leading that. So maybe just into a question, Abhishek, have you seen anything in those agendas that would give you hope and faith in that things changing?
In both agenda, WPS and YPS both?
Well, just generally that the young people are starting, and youth workers in India are starting to see movement, and chip away at the attitudes you've presented of the government.
Okay. So I would say that that especially with internet and post-pandemic, I think there has been some improvement, particularly towards the youth, especially in India during the second wave. The COVID pandemic was very strong. And I think at that time, personally speaking, at the community level, youth were able to bring a lot of efforts and push forward certain initiatives. Like, for example, they were helping elderly people in getting groceries. They were able to help, for example, communities with providing information regarding where the beds were available, where were the medicines, oxygen cylinders. So these initiatives or these kind of actions have been able to make a certain change in attitudes in societies, because it's not just governments that propagate these ideas that kind of associate youths with negativity, but also at the society level, there is negativity because, as I said earlier, because the culture is such that especially families doesn't like any kind of, they would like to maintain status quo in that sense. They don't like any kind of rowdy attitude. So that is the origin of these attitudes, particularly in Indian setting. I'm not saying that this is generally true for every region of India. It's different. So I would say that some initiative have been which were taken place by youth have been able to make changes. particularly, and so there have been workshops and trainings which youth have been taken forward, for example, on issues of interfaith relations between Hindu communities and Muslims, but also between resolving interethnic tensions in different parts of the country. So it's a very systematic and incremental change, but it's happening. So I'm very positive about it.
Great. We just have a few minutes left in our session. So if we have any more questions, there's another one here in the room.
Thank you very much. I was so much interested on the first presentation. I don't know if the presenter can advise an emerging youth workers association. Is there any work done, empirical evidence on comparative analysis of the social return on investment of youth-led versus youth supporting peace building programs? Yeah, just advice on that comparative analysis.
Yes, if I understood the question correctly, it was, is there any comparative analysis of social return on investment of youth-led versus youth-supporting interventions?
Exactly.
I have not seen it yet. So I will say in this study, we had one of the 4 organizations was youth-led, the programs, excuse me, was youth-led, and the other 3 were youth-supporting. And so that's kind of the first evidence we have seen in this space. But the social return on investment, we did a social value analysis for the one that was youth-led. That was due to methodological constraints. We hope to build on that in the future. So we haven't seen it yet, but we certainly hope we have an opportunity to build on that kind of evidence.
Thank you very much, Shubha. Do we have any other questions in the room? I might sneak in just one more, Shubha, if I could ask quickly. Could you go over again, just briefly, why you mentioned context matters? Why was there such a big difference in the value in between the analysis of the pre-election and the election period? What was driving that?
Yeah, great question. It's because when we talk to the stakeholders, we ask them, how did this matter to you? You know, prior to the elections, how did this matter to you during election time? That's what they said, that it was their experience that having these increased networks, having these skills was much more valuable to them in the context of election, allow them to, you know, extend their work or you know, have a more peaceful election. And we were, you know, thrilled to see that this year was a peaceful, relatively peaceful election year in Kenya. And so I think it's it's providing some evidence that, you know, hasn't been there before. What is the value of these programs, particularly in stressful contexts or you know, points of tension, and recognizing that it is going to be context dependent. You know, even just in these same programs, if you're looking at it a few months ago versus in the context of election, the value might change, right? And each program has its own value. If you look at it 5 years from now, if you're looking in a different country, a different context. So context really does matter. And it's you know, to some extent, somewhat of the limitation of an SRI, that you shouldn't be comparing values between different contexts and organizations and ratios, because you really want to understand it fully, how it's, you know, how the methodology, how the assumptions, how the values have been derived. But it also, I think, in some ways provides a more real-time assessment compared to what we were seeing, like when we looked at the literature and it said, you know, the value of this outcome to the state was blah, 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 blah in 2001, and that's the best we can do, right? So context does matter, and this is one way of kind of getting at that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. Thank you so much to Shubha and to Abhishek for their wonderful presentations. These help us to advance further this notion of paying closer attention to the value of young people in the peace and security space, whether we're assessing the impact of youth-led or youth-supported initiatives, or whether it is we're actually trying to push for a new agenda, for the recognition of the agenda and the agency of young people as peace builders. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, and we look forward to hearing more from you at another time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.